When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
what is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are...
When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
what is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
The Liberian communities in the diasporas are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the United Party is not cohesive.
Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Join Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without a diaspora impact.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com.
Diaspora Talk, from this house.
Good afternoon, wherever you find yourself. I'd like to say welcome this afternoon to a brand new edition of your informative program and interactive one, the Diaspora's Talk, right here on KMTV, Liberia's premier online television. We are everywhere. That's why we are right here on this wonderful Monday. It happens to be the 28th day of November, and it's the final Monday of the month of November, 2022. The next time you see a Monday, it's going to be the first Monday in December. My name is Cyrus McGee here on this edition of the program. And of course, I'm here with my colleague, Nathan Charles. Together, we are bringing you this presentation. And wherever you are in Liberia, Africa, or the rest of the world, if you're here in Minnesota where we sit, I'd like to say welcome. Share the link and invite others to follow on this edition of Diaspora Talk. It's going to be a fascinating one indeed, but let me welcome with all much ado my colleague, Nathan Charles, on this edition of the program. Nathan, welcome.
Hello to our viewers, and we say we are here to serve you better. This is KMTV, Liberia premium online television. We are everywhere. So the weekend, great new week, last day in the month, and we are here to give you information, education, digest the issues unfolding in Liberia. A lot of issues unfolding in Liberia. So we are here to inform you and bring duty bearers on board to discuss issues that are relevant, to also get your views too, how we can make Liberia better. People
and I know you didn't just mean the last day in the month, but the last Monday in the month.
I mean the last Monday in the month.
Because I was going to ask you if you still remember 30th day of September. I said you want to reverse November to the February style. No. Yeah, if it was February, we will probably be saying this is the last day in the month. And how did you spend the weekend, bro?
Weekend was great, as usual. So work, eat, relax, watch the World Cup. So it was entertaining. My entire weekend was entertaining.
And we got off the show the other day with the USA and Wales. It was a very, very huge. No, England. Was it England? It was England, and it was a very huge one indeed. We see the African countries are pulling back little by little. We saw Morocco making a great win. This morning, Ghana surprised, the Koreans and so forth. Only Cameroon had a draw, I think. Yeah. They had a draw earlier this morning, and we hope that, Yeah, so we hope that we can get one or two of our African teams out there, making it work for Africa. But what's your overall impression of the World Cup?
It's unpredictable. And one thing that caught my attention was the euphoria, how people are cheering their team, like Ghana, the Senegal, Cameroon. And I was like, I wish Liberia was there.
Yeah, that's somebody would say wishful thinking. Wish Liberia was there, but we are not there. So it remains still something that we love the sport. And Alfonso Davis got his first goal for Canada, the first and only goal.
Fastest goal so far in the World Cup. 6 seconds.
that was something great to see indeed. Something very, very, very great indeed to see Alfonso David putting up a splendid performance there. And getting the first ever goal for Canada in the World Cup. And when I look at their Canadian sport page, and what the headline was, first ever Canadian goal in the World Cup. But who else? then, who else but Alfonso Davis? And it's a great one indeed for him. It was good to see his parents cheering on, from the stands.
F1 Sports showcased. Hey, I think somebody was yelling, "Alfonso cool, Alfonso Davis."
So that
It's good, and I mean, I'm happy because that World Cup is there to expose countries, right? And Liberia is being mentioned. Most of the commentators I'm listening to, they are mentioning for most of the big teams, that this is a Liberian born. He was born in Liberia. Or his parents are from Liberia. So though we are not there, but I mean, like the Williams brother.
And I did not even follow that until we briefly talk about that. The Williams brothers.
Yeah.
I think one of them is with
Spain,
the Spain
one
team.
from Ghana.
One plays for Ghana, and I'm looking at when you send me the reference, I'm looking at the reading days, born to Liberian parents, and I'm like, oh, that I thought it was just Alfonso Davis and team we were going to be looking for. But indeed, that actually blew my mind. I must admit, and our guys are doing the best for their countries they are representing. No doubt about that. And we hope that at the end of the day, an African country will pull the tricks. I hope to see Ghana advance. We're also looking to see Morocco, Tunisia. It was not a good one. Was it a draw with them? Tunisia. I think they also play on the weekend as well. But all in all, it was. I mean, the World Cup is exciting and full of surprises, like you put it. And we keeping our eyes on that.
Seeing Ghana beat South Korea, it was like wow. And my man's son, I was like my player's son. He was the first person who encouraged me to start watching soccer.
There you go.
And, I'm like, 1 minute I want to cheer for him. I'm like, no, the African solidarity. I'm like, go Ghana. And they play, they play a very good game, scoring 2 goals, and then going back and honor again.
Honor and it's
coming up.
So if you're there watching on whether Facebook or on our YouTube channel, we'd like to say welcome. And there are a lot of things happening across our country, Mama Liberia. But firstly, on a relatively sad note, yesterday, the finance minister, Samuel Tuwe Jr., his wife, and 2 others were involved into a motor accident on the Lofa Monrovia Highway. If you're watching, that's the vehicle there, which Minister Samuel Tuwe and others, including his wife, his driver, I understand his security guy, they were all on board. That's the condition of that vehicle. So as we were filled in yesterday with information coming from across Liberia, Facebook blew up social, so wide, with those pictures popping up from Lofa County.
And it was scary, Cyrus, because
it was indeed.
The road he played,
He was just on his way from speaking as the keynote speaker for the Lofa Community College graduation on Saturday. And then in that, we understand they were rushed on to Phoebe Hospital. And then later forwarded to Monrovia for after getting stabilized, and they could move on. They were forwarded to Monrovia for treatment. We wish them a speedy recovery. So that's one of the news coming out of Liberia, relatively sad. And the 16-day, right?
Yeah, 16 days.
16 days of activism. Also ongoing across Liberia. And what's the breaking point coming that except from the Minister of Gender so far?
There are a lot of issues from that 16 days. So spotlight was thrown on what are the situation now in Liberia. As you know, Gender Minister at a press conference over the weekend around Friday or Thursday, she said the Liberian government currently has over 1,335 traditional practitioners, right?
Wow.
And 721 groups. I mean, the bush, the Zobush. I mean, that's Zobush and other other stuff. So she said, out of that amount, they are trying to remove some of the people from the practices. So government has currently helped.
I thought at some point that
persons.
was suspended. I thought
Yes.
at some point, but these are still ongoing. Then violating the suspension or what?
I mean, yes. So you can't just move the people from the traditional practices. So that's how most of the people are living. It's a culture. So how can you involve the people into that? So government is still fighting. People are saying it's the Western methodology and in the African tradition. So they are still trying to mitigate that process. And another big thing is the issue of child marriage. It's still happening in Liberia, in 11 areas in Liberia, she said, and most of all she said, parents and family members are coercing the young ones to do traditional marriage, and that's serious.
That is serious indeed. And now there are a lot of other couple of things coming out of Liberia. We will continue to flag them as they break. But over the weekend, the broom was in Minnesota.
Why did they call it broom?
Didn't you see the broom in Minnesota on the weekend?
I saw one broom in the office.
No, that one. There's a little broom that is traveling.
The vacuum
No,
cleaner?
you know the little broom that comes from the palm branches we use in Liberia. It is traveling around the world and is being carried by somebody they refer to as the Integrity Chief. He was in Minnesota on the weekend, or he's still in Minnesota, as you saw on our post, on our caption there. Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, Ben Sweeping Minnesota. And we will take this break. Right after this break, he will join us on the Diaspora talk. We're going to be looking at his plan for Liberia. As you know, he's one of those seeking the presidency of our country on the party of the Liberia People's Party. You know, we've not heard that for a long time, and he's kind of like raising that. So we're going to be having Councillor Gongloe with us on the flip side of the show. But let's take this very first break. Bring you these advertisements from our sponsors, including the Park Liquor Store here in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, and the Infotech Computer Hub there, also in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. All of your computer work, just get right there, just in the OLM office. You will have the best of job from Sam and his team there at Infotech. Let's take the break. We'll be right back with the Integrity Chief, Councillor Tiawan Gongloe. Don't go away. Infotech Fast Track Computer Sales and Repair Center is proud to be associated with Diaspora Talk. Infotech Fast Track, a Liberian-owned business, is the leading computer sales and repair center in Minnesota and is specialized in laptop and PC repairs of any brand and any problem. We are situated at 7920 Brooklyn Boulevard, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. For more information, call cell number 763-432-3284. Or for better still, email us at infotech@fasttrack.com. Infotech Fast Track Computer Sales and Repair Center, your computer solution hub. Infotech Fast Track Computer Sales and Repair Center is proud to be associated with Diaspora Talk. Infotech Fast Track, a Liberian-owned business, is the leading computer sales and repair center in Minnesota and is specialized in laptop and PC repairs of any brand and any problem. We are situated at 7920 Brooklyn Boulevard, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. For more information, call cell number 763-432-3284. Or for better still, email us at infotech@fasttrack.com. Infotech Fast Track Computer Sales and Repair Center, your computer solution hub. Infotech Fast Track Computer Sales and Repair Center is proud to be associated with Diaspora Talk. Infotech Fast Track, a Liberian-owned business, is the leading computer sales and repair center in Minnesota and is specialized in laptop and PC repairs of any brand and any problem. We are situated at 7920 Brooklyn Boulevard, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. For more information, call cell number 763-432-3284. Or for better still, email us at infotech@fasttrack.com. Infotech Fast Track Computer Sales and Repair Center, your computer solution hub.
Frankie LV, a run stepper, a leader, is a warning to the followers. Our love operator is here. The Tiawan Gongloe all the way.
Are you Lady Records? Sweet sound.
Nima guaya ume bongo, bongo, bongo. La biama ya ubone, bongo, 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 bongo. Say wa ya, abola bia se ne ye wa boya. Lo va ye wa bola. Papa Tiawan Gongloe no ile. You know why we are. Me boni mahine you wa tere. Zaba lo gwa boyi. Ni wa lo wa boyi. Apo ma wanda me wa lo wa boyi. Na de pa. No jame. Okay, movement.
And I tell you, let me say welcome back to all of you watching from Liberia, across the world, here in Minnesota, where we sit here in Brooklyn Center, at the corner of Brooklyn Center and Brooklyn Park, just on the brink here. KMTV, we are everywhere. That's why we are right here, coming to you live on this wonderful Monday, the last Monday of the month of November, indeed. And like I said earlier on, you heard the song, you heard the a beautiful one there, indeed. I don't want to be. I got good ears for music, and I love the tune and all of that. Maybe I don't want to go for it's that. But like I said earlier on, we had the Broom in Minnesota over the weekend. The Broom is still here. And Councillor Gongloe is our guest on this flip side of the Diaspora Talk. Councillor Gongloe, welcome. It's good to have you here on KMTV.
Thank you very much, and let me congratulate you for this very impressive studio. It makes me feel like I'm in CNN studio or BBC studio.
We're trying to get there.
It's better than the studio I appeared in Bush House in 2004.
Now you're flattering us a little bit.
No, I'm not flattering you. I was interviewed by Pete Livingston in BBC studio at Bush House in 2004.
And that's in London?
Yeah, in London. And I must praise you. Maybe the studio appears better than it was then, but this studio is very impressive.
All right, we however
congratulations for this great job.
Thank you so much, Council. We however take the commendation, and it's good to have you. How is Minnesota treating you so far?
Great. Minnesota is treating me well. Much better now than before. I was here 4 months ago. I was considered a new kid on the block, not known politically. I've been known as an advocate, but not known as a politician. I'm leaving the advocacy I'm transitioning into politics. And so people didn't know me that way. But because of the message that I have of fighting for a better Liberia, that a better Liberia is possible, many people called their family members back home. And when I got back home, many people started listening to me. And then I've gone to Bon County. I'm doing politics a different way. As an advocate, you like to know all of the facts, know what you're advocating for. So I'm going to the people. I'm not going to big towns. I'm going to the rural areas. I've gone to 37 towns in Bon County, and everywhere I went, I was told, look, you are the first presidential candidate in our life to ever come here. Some of the people are in their 80s and 70s, and they are telling me we have not even seen senatorial candidates in some of the towns. You are doing well for us. And then the engagement, they asked me questions, I explained. Then I went to 106 towns in Nimba County. Now, since I came back to the United States, I'm getting more people talking to me now. So both my work in Liberia and the work in the United States are helping each other because the diasporan population is very powerful. There are some people that can control a whole town. There are some towns that I went to and they told me, oh, my brother in America said we should support you. If we don't support you, after the election, we should not ask them again. Because the frequency of begging has increased. In the diaspora here, people are asking now for half-baked rice all of the time because they are hungry. So So now everybody knows that governance is a very important issue. Long time ago, 6, 7 years ago, people used to call here and ask for a bundle of zinc or a few bags of cement to finish their homes. Those kinds of begging come once in a while. Now people are begging for half bag of rice, which means every 2 weeks they are calling their relatives here. So we need to change conditions back home so that people can have jobs, life in Liberia can be better, to reduce the harassment here. Because what I hear from people in the diaspora is sometimes when they see their phone ringing and they see Liberian number, they can't answer.
They won't pick it up.
No.
No, we will come to that because I know there are a lot of issues. There are a lot of things we have to touch on. And let me firstly say thanks on a very short notice. You were able to accept to come on with us, and
I would never refuse coming on any show.
and after such an elaborate program, indeed, I was there, covered it, and we listened to the speeches, and the turnout was impressive, I must say. But how is it like, firstly, consider Tiawan Gongloe transitioning from Gongloe, the advocates we know, Gongloe, the quote-unquote poor man lawyer, Gongloe, the one who everybody run to when there is something legally. I can't get my child out of jail, Gongloe coming, and all of this. How is it like?
In fact, just as I was coming here, I got a call from someone here who said his 16-year-old son was arrested in Liberia today, whether my office can intervene. So those kinds of calls.
And you're still here and on the phone back and forth with you. Okay. So with all of this, what is it like for you in this transitional period? What's the challenge that you face, or what are those challenges? And what's inside? Let's take it from there.
Most of us advocates, and that's just in Liberia, all over the continent and other parts of the world, there's always a feeling that we have to keep speaking truth to power for them, for those who are in power to change. So we take a position of only advocating and expecting that there will be changed behavior by those in power to respect the rule of law, to provide social services for the people, to generally work for the upliftment of the majority of the people in the country, and stay back. But that's an easier job to do, to criticize and to suggest. I think the harder job is to do what is right. So I am coming from the advocacy perspective, and I've tested my skill of staying within the confines of what I advocate for. Because I worked with Dr. Sawyer as executive assistant in the interim government to him as president for 4 years, and I did not abuse my office. I challenge anybody in the Republic of Liberia. I always said that those things that were wrong under President Tubman, President Talbot, President Doe, President Taylor, are still wrong today, irrespective of who is there. Time does not change things to be right. So I was Solicitor General. I transformed prosecution for the first time in history. I closed down that underground jail that you put new. As soon as I entered Solicitor General.
And you tested that place too.
That very day, I shut it down and put office there because.
Is it because you tested it?
I never went down there, but the last
you went up.
The last prisoner that I released from there was Sando Moore.
Okay.
The celebrated Sando Moore. I freed him from there. So when I enter, I shut it down.
Okay.
And then I changed prosecution before there were people becoming county attorney by giving cow or burger rice or goat to people. They were not lawyers. Some of them were not even high school graduates. Before I left that office for the first time since 1847, I put trained lawyers with law school degrees in all of the 15 counties as county attorneys for the first time. I transformed that office. I introduced SGBV prosecution unit at the Ministry of Justice. That's transformation. So at the Ministry of Justice, I closed down the dungeon that were under there. I said, you cannot anchor justice or injustice and then transform prosecution by bringing in trained lawyers and then creating prosecution unit. They are labor ministry. And one time someone said, oh, that job you in prosecution, head of prosecution, you will make money because people will bring you envelopes. I believe that, but when you have a good reputation, it can precede you. I used to hear that people want to bring envelope, but they were afraid to bring the envelope because they knew me. And I said, let them try because I'll prosecute them for attempted bribery. At the Ministry of Labor, I increased the work permit fees. After I talked to employers, to employ Liberians, I said, after all, you need to employ the young people because that's a potential threat. They say, oh, Liberians can steal, Liberians are lazy and so can. In every country, you have some people who have bad behavior. As a citizen of Liberia, I strongly believe there are more good people in those countries than bad people. They didn't want to do it. I consulted with my president at that time to increase the work permit fees for non-Liberians from $400. They have been that way for more than a decade to $1,000. As soon as she approved, I did it. The number of foreign employees dropped immediately. And of course, they needed a job. They started replacing them with Liberians. It is regulation number 17 that got the young girls that you see now as cashiers in all of the supermarkets in Liberia to be there. Before that, there were Indians and Lebanese. So I transformed that place. And no one can tell you a Ministry of Labor that Councillor Gongloe took 1 cent. So I believe that there's nothing in government that makes people to be corrupt. There's already a corrupt mindset. They only look for opportunity to steal. That's from there that I developed, I coined the phrase, government is a place to serve, not to steal.
And I saw you passing or moving around on your recent trail with that, having Liberians recite that. At one point it was kind of like funny, to listen because the Gongloe is like he's teaching you how to UL. Yes. Repeat after me.
Yes.
and what impression do you have?
Kindergarten school.
Yeah.
Because the country corruption is so pandemic, it has become a plague in the land. And people are taking it to be an acceptable behavior. So now we have to teach people that what is the function of government is to serve the people, not a place to steal. That's an abuse of office. Because people now see people stealing and bringing them bags of rice, giving scholarship, helping them to build their houses, doing good, building bridges. So people take it as a norm that, you go there to enjoy. Where you tie a goat is where the goat eat. All those kind of slangs. Where you tie a goat is where the goat eat. We have to let it go. We have to teach society. And that's why I'm carrying a broom around.
I was coming to that, and I know when you enter, we told you jokingly that we got vacuum here. Yeah, but you still brought a broom. Now, this broom, everybody getting to know the issue of the broom. We watch your interviews, you have the broom. We watch you on different programs, you carry the broom. What's actually the impact of this broom?
You see, you have an advocate that has entered politics. The broom is to symbolize cleaning dirt from government, running a clean government so that Liberians can be protected and served properly with all the social services provided. Corruption is a stumbling block to Liberia's development. I consider corruption dirt in the government. And so, metaphorically, I'm using a broom, that we will clean this dirt in government that undermines Liberia's development. This country that is supposed to be the shining example of black man's ability to govern himself in the world was the first independent country on the African continent in 1847. It has failed to meet the premise of laying a firm foundation for good governance. Other countries that gained independence from 1957, Ghana, the 1958, Guinea, the 1960, 61, 62, Ivory Coast, and all these countries are far beyond, what they should do. They are doing much better than Liberia in terms of protection of their citizens and providing social services. To the extent that, shamefully, Liberian government officials can now get up and go to Ghana for medical checkups and for medical treatment. That, for me, is the highest degree of lack of pride because nations like human beings compete. How come our people are going to Ghana for vacation? They're going to Ghana as tourists. When I know that when I was at the University of Liberia in the third year, that Ghanaians used to come to Liberia to buy bath soap, to buy basic necessities because for those items in 1979, they were standing in line in Accra. They have taken seize of the situation, and it takes one leader to change the situation. Just like how Martin Luther King changed the perception of how people look at black people in America by standing up. Gerald Rollins change like Ghana's story and lay a firm foundation for good governance because he's known in Ghana for not stealing Ghanaian government's money. Even after he left, they check every account in the world. And that now has brought high level of integrity to governance in Ghana that the Ghanaian citizens measure the progress of Ghana by how Ghanaian public officials conduct themselves, the rolling standard. I want to give that good example for Liberia. And that is why I'm using the broom.
How easy is that going to be to have this implemented? Where are you going to jumpstart this? Maybe if Councillor Gongloe is elected 2023 on day one, where are you going to jumpstart it? This is something that you call the epidemic, corruption.
The police. No country in which rule of law is respected that does not have a strong police. I saw it in Rwanda. It's here in the United States. In the United States, Rwanda, China, any other country that is making progress. The police is the most important government employee in terms of rule of law. In America, if a janitor violates traffic rule, he's given the same ticket, and that a senator would get. If a senator violates traffic rule, he gets the same ticket that a janitor or an ordinary driver would get. That is what they call rule of law. Everyone in the country is subordinate to the laws of the country, and everyone is treated equally. That is what I would do. When I was Solicitor General, I prosecuted a senator. And some people were telling me, oh, we need permission from the Senate to arrest the senator. I said, you are telling me from the police report that a senator and others
that was the case of Senator Roland Kine.
Joined together to commit murder, and you want to treat the other suspects differently, you go arrest him. I will answer. He was arrested, indicted. And one day I went to the Temple of Justice, and he was sitting in the front of the car with air condition blowing him, and the other defendant sitting in the back of the car, in the back of the pickup. I said, why is he sitting in the front? Oh, he's senator. I said, no. All of them have the same name, defendants. Put him on the back of the pickup and handcuff him. For a long time, he used to be angry with me when he got out of jail. But they were treated the same. That's what they call rule of law. Everyone should be treated the same. I am saying the principles I'm committed to under the law are principles that when I'm in government office, I apply to everybody equally. And I strongly believe we'll start with the police. I will issue an executive order to protect the police. That any minister in my government or any high official government that interferes with police operation, because can take telephone, call the police director, or call the police, oh, don't arrest that person, or that my interest. When it gets to me, you are dismissed immediately.
And I see you just smiling. you want to take it in. Let's go.
Yes, I'm looking at his broom screw. I see most of it is falling off. Is it that you've been sweeping in these towns and villages?
No, the broom. No,
How many branches of broom you've used so far?
Breaking some of this because everywhere I go, I show this is the broom I had in Nimba going to Butu and all that, and I say, look, you see the broom like this. There are several strands. If you break one, it's easier to break one, but it's difficult to break all together. So I want to lead the process, holding the broom for all Liberians to join me to sweep corruption from Liberia, so that Liberia can be like Ivory Coast, like Ghana, like Rwanda, like any of those countries, because a better Liberia is possible.
Let me just say, I must commend you for your advocacy from Liberia. I've been following, call you Pullman lawyer, because the name of Bagos Matthew and Paul, you are mentioned among them when it comes to. So it's no doubt that your advocacy has been very much instrumental. You don't know who you have helped free from jail or advocated for that person.
At one point, he was called a media lawyer.
Even right now, I'm representing Front Page in a major damages suit. I'm representing so many newspapers because not only when they take journalists to jail, I announced in Liberia to the PU at their function that if any journalist or any newspaper is taken to court, Gongloe and Associates will provide you free legal service. Because I believe strongly we cannot build democracy without allowing freedom of expression and freedom of press, so that people can openly speak to the people who serve them. That is the way that the media and ordinary people participate in shaping the governance of their country.
So, yeah, go ahead, Nathan. Go right ahead.
Councillor Gongloe is shifting. In the 70s,
You could just come a little bit closer to
in
the.
the 70s and 80s, he was an advocate. 90s, 2000, a lawyer. Now, in the
2022, 2023.
He's going to become president. He wants to become president for Liberia. But my question is, a better Liberia, why? And explain your strategy in 100 days. How are you going to work?
Oh, no. Okay, so one of the things I will do in 100 days is what I just said, that I will make the police work. Rule of law begins with a police, a credible police. Then, in that executive order, I will also put that the people of Liberia have a right to videotape police in its operation, so that the police knows that people are watching them. And any police officer that takes away anybody's camera will be dismissed. Yes, because from George Floyd, if that young 17-year-old girl had not videotaped, even in America, police will have given a different story. They were beginning to give a different story anyway. So for transparency in the operation of the police, so that police works well for all of us, we have to make sure that police. Then I will issue another executive order. Rule of law begins with the police. From there, it goes to the court. So I will also give an executive order. Any minister or official of government that interferes with the independence of the judiciary to undermine the fairness and impartiality of the court, whether that magistrate court, whether that circuit court or Supreme Court, you will not be enjoying the pleasure of the president. You'll be immediately dismissed. And I will work on an act to make the interference of the police and the judiciary an impeachable offense for elected officials, including the president. So that Liberia becomes the country that it was expected to be, a country that will be an example, a shining example of good governance and a pride to the African people. We are left behind, but it's not late. After 200 years of the landing of the pioneers in Liberia, and after 175 years, but by the time I'm president, it will be 177 years, we can start the process and take the lead. Liberia must be given its place as a leader in Africa.
Now, you're stressing more on the rule of law, protection of people's rights.
So there are other things that will happen. We have to look at the economy. In 100 days, I will issue an executive order. No round logs leaving Liberia again. We have to add value to our logs. Liberia has the remaining 43% of the remaining tropical forest in Africa, in West Africa. We have more forest in West Africa than Nigeria, Africa, and Ghana combined. That is a big asset that gives us a comparative advantage to benefit from the forest. So I will issue an executive order that no logs leave the country. I will issue another executive order that no Liberian ministry or agency or government purchases furniture that are made in other countries. We are the source of furniture. We will only allow sawmills and furniture companies to operate in our country in terms of our wood industry, our forest industry. So those are the things I will issue. Those are the things I will deal with. Also, in the first 100 days, we'll have a team working together to provide loans for small businesses to develop entrepreneurial activities in Liberia by giving them small loans, all right, through the Ministry of Finance and the banking system.
Now, with all of these things, people will say that, a lot of good plans and, what you envision for Liberia. And you've been across the country of recent, especially in the Nimba, Bong, and, those areas. What are you seeing at first hand as you travel to those areas?
Going to those areas give me a lot of information on the level of negligence of the central government. and the people are neglected. Can you imagine? How can Liberia develop when to move from one village from one town to another that should take you 10 minutes is taking me 2 hours? The classic example was moving from Blodiala to Tapata. I had reached Blodiala around 2 something. I have met the Blodiala people. Blodiala is about 20 to 30 minutes away from Tapata on the Zwedru Road. It took me 4 hours from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
But this is the rainy season, Council?
I agree, but I grew up in Tapata under Tubman regime up to Tobo. I never experienced that because there used to be public work yard in Tapata. There was another public work yard in Tota, and in many parts of the country. So the public work machines were always on the road meeting here. So we never had a situation where the road from Zwedru to Tapata was cut off. But it's not happening. Ome was doing that, but Ome was showing the example of how Liberian government should take over. There should be road maintenance is a routine function of government. And if you don't maintain the road and the people can move, you are violating the constitutional right to freedom of movement. And no economy can develop if commerce cannot move from one town to another, can't carry on commercial activities. It even leads to the death of people because, for example, government built a regional hospital in Tapata, JFD Hospital. The people from Grand Jury can access it, and they have a lot of experts in Tapata because of the road condition. When I was in Tapata, I was hearing that to move from Zwedru to Ganta by motorcycle was 30,000 Liberian dollars. At the current rate, that's about $200 US. How many people can afford that kind of money in such a poor area? So, that's why I say it'll be difficult for George Weah to even get 10% of the votes from Southeastern Liberia because they are suffering too much under a government that has predominantly Southeastern Liberians in a higher echelon of government. So it's just another experience that shows me that appointment of people, whether all of them are from one time in a government, does not necessarily translate to the people of that area enjoying. These people are just taking money and putting it in their pocket for they and their family.
Now, you coined a better Liberia is possible. And I know biblically as a Christian, with God, all things are possible. And we all pray for a better Liberia. But if Tiawan Gongloe Councillor at Law, before I can get, a doctor or something, just kidding. But if Councillor Tiawan Gongloe is to lead Liberia into what you envision as a better Liberia that you think is possible, what's the major challenge in having this come to reality?
Well, the major challenge is having the financial resources to implement all of the things that we want to do. But everything is not going to happen one day. And everything is not going to happen one day. So when we combat corruption and we reduce waste in government, for me as president, there are not many trips I'll go on. There are a Liberian ambassador in countries in which there are meetings, there are conferences. I will send a Liberian ambassador to represent the president of Liberia to cut down cost. Because when president travels, security people and all that, by the way, when I travel, again, it's another waste. When you travel to other countries, the security of that country is under obligation to protect you. So why are you traveling with 10, 15 security people when you get to the the entrance of any country, they take your arms away from you. So I will be traveling with very small number of people. Whenever I have to travel, like even going to ECOWAS, I may send vice president, I may send foreign minister to represent, unless there is a major issue that requires the presence of head of state. I want to spend most of my time in Liberia, moving from place to place, checking on things. Like I say, every month I would do my health check. And without notice, I would say, I'm going to Kepamas day after tomorrow for my health check that the security people know. They just see me in the hospital at JJ Dawson Hospital in Harbour.
Is that going to be safe for the president?
Yes.
Just appearing
I came
anywhere for
I
medical treatment.
came for medical
knowing what Councillor Gongloe went through, he nearly got some capsule that who are taking his life.
I agree.
Would that be safe
I
for
would
the
be
president?
In government. I would be in government. Those people are on government payroll. So I would be in government. So we'll do that. But we can cut down cost. And corruption will end in the first quarter of my government. Why do I say so? Because the salary of the president, his asset declaration, his benefits will be on the internet. And so with every government official in the 3 branches of government, we'll even go to civil servants and put their salaries on the website.
That has to be by law.
That's the Constitution, Article 15C, says the people of Liberia have a right to know about their government and its functionaries. How can your employers not know about your salary? Nobody can question that. So, if they know that Councillor Gongloe, as president, total worth, for example, is $100,000.
Is that why you worth? Is that why you worth right now?
No. I'm just saying. I don't know what I'm worth.
It's more than that right now.
Yeah, no, I don't know. No, I'm not sure it's even more than that. I don't think it's more than that. But let's say 50,000, 60,000, whatever the figure is, it's on the internet. When they see me, if it is 50,000 or 100,000 or whatever, and after 2 months in government, they see me building a 10-story building in Glaze up here. Obviously, they look on their phone and say, wow, the man stealing. Because the building is worth more than 500,000.
Yeah, that's not a real evidence to say you're stealing.
No. That in public service, of course, they're not in court, but as clear evidence, and journalists can say, there's no way this man, the spending he's doing is above his income. But I'm more than that. Every 3 months, there will be what I call lifestyle audit of the president and officials of government. And I will submit myself to an auditor from GSC, whoever it can be a first time, one day auditors have come and said, I submit myself, Mr. President, you have a $200,000 Mercedes park at your house, but we know that your total worth is not equivalent to that. Mind you, I took oath. It is wrong because the code of conduct, I will be the first trained lawyer in the history of Liberia to be president. So I'm not going to violate the law. The code of conduct says that no official government from the president down can take any gift beyond $250, which means, so even the gift that president we are taking that my friend gave me the jet plane to ride, that is a violation of the code of conduct. So I wouldn't do that. I would do such a thing, So when they say, then they will know that I'm stealing. And I've said publicly that if I go beyond this and spend beyond my income, I'll be going against the law that I took oath to obey, defend, and protect. I will resign from Liberia, from the Liberian government. Therefore, I will not tolerate any official of my government when to spend beyond what his income, his worth is. As soon as the auditor report, the auditing report comes to me, and that lifestyle audit will be published for all of you to see on the internet and in the major newspaper. You will be dismissed immediately, and I'm not going to dismiss you and let you go to enjoy the money with you and your family. That's what used to happen in the past. That's why I say I will clean corruption as direct from the government and burn it. This is how.
And what would be the burning process?
So the burning process is what I'm going to explain. If I clean corruption and put it in the dump site, when the breeze blows, it will come back. So the burning process will be this: that when I dismiss you, I will turn you over to the Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission for full investigation and prosecution. When you are prosecuted, you'll go to jail for 5 to 10 years, and your assets will be seized and returned to the Republic of Liberia. And every time I want to ask the people, you think when 5 ministers are in jail for 5 to 10 years, all their properties are taken, their family members are suffering. One more minister will want to steal, everybody says no. So that's how we burn corruption. By any, it is possible to end corruption.
all this knowledge you have, because you've been engaging the people according to you, have you ever reached out to President George Weah to properly advise him on running the country so our people cannot keep suffering? Also, my next question is, who's sponsoring all of these trips? I see you frequently in the U.S. Who's sponsoring these trips? Are you riding on first class?
No, Liberians living here who believe in me, in my ability to lead the country, who believe that I mean well for the country based on my track record and they can judge me easy. I cannot run away from myself because I've written so much. You go do research on me now, Google says you find over 200,000 entries. I've said so many things in the media that people are following me on it. They pay for me to come to America the first time. They pay for me to come. And when I came the first time, you wouldn't believe it. I traveled to more states than any president in the history of the country. I traveled to 12 states on account of Liberians living here on the goodwill. I don't have that kind of money.
First class?
No. I travel first class the first time I came here. You know why? One of my supporters is sitting right out there. He had accumulated what they call credit.
Travel miles?
Travel miles. So much on Delta. So we got to Ghana, and he was in fact paying for me to come. He said, I got so much travel miles that I can put even 5 persons in the first class. For many years, I've accumulated that. So I said, what are you going to do in the first class? He said, but I'm not paying for it. That my travel miles. So I was writing my speech to come. I said, okay, then I'll sit down there and write. And that's the only time I've actually traveled first class. But I would not be traveling first class and wasting money on all of that.
I think he also asked about whether you've been able to offer President Weah some advice.
See,
have you been contacted by the Weah government? Probably a man with a wealth of knowledge in Liberia. Everybody will want you in government since you resigned from the Cllr government.
Can I resign from Cllr government? Who had better knowledge of governance?
That's an insult to the George Weah government.
George Weah can match President Cllr. What he learned from President Cllr is the reason I resigned from the President Cllr government, corruption and all of that. That he has mastered. But President Cllr is the one that introduced. She introduced all of the things. I've said it openly. In fact, I called for President Cllr resignation one time in 2012. She is the one that institutionalized the legislative bribery that is going on, giving envelopes to the legislature. She institutionalized very high salaries that our economy cannot actually afford. There were times people were making over $20,000 a month and all of that. In fact, she came to justify the salary of the Maritime Commissioner at that time. They were making $20,000 a month and all of it. So all of these things that are happening under President Weah, every time is raised. Even when I raised it, they said, and you work on the President Cllr, she was corrupt too. And I said, but you say change for hope. You wanted to change all of those things. So
you think the how you call it, harmonization was in any way, a right way to start up in cutting this high, payment to government employees and officials?
It is good to reduce salaries at the highest level, to reduce salaries so that you can use money accumulated from that to provide social services like health services, improve the educational system, maybe help the agriculture ministry to grow more food, maintain our roads. But none of those things are really happening,
Even those salaries are harmonized?
Exactly. Those things are not happening. And now, it's even worse on the civil servants. They don't know their salary next month. Every month, their salary is reducing. And it's like you don't know when it will stop. The pensioners are not taking a pay. I know that because teachers have come to my office who have been pensioned, nurses, police officers, all these people. And when you are pensioned, it means you serve well, you didn't do anything, and you reach the age and you are pensioned. And you should be treated with dignity. But they are treated like criminals because they are now suffering more than when they were working. And these are people who got their children go to school. They need to access the health services and all that. That's a punishment which is really an element of very bad governance. It's not good. Because when you do that, civil servants want to steal and say, you know what, I'd rather steal and be fired because when I work well and I'm pensioned, I will not be properly treated. So, those things about, but the question of advising George Weah, that's not my responsibility to be advising him. I talk to people in government. The thing that, but George Weah is not qualified to be where he is. Look, let me tell you, there's no way to repair the situation that George Weah is in. I cannot do the work that you are doing now. I've never practiced journalism. You take me and put behind your microphone now. You will be surprised that as educated as I am, a lawyer and everything, I will be asking some weird questions. You shouldn't take anything like that. Everything in life,
So
you have to have training and experience
so you're just
for.
waiting for George Weah to fail.
No,
that's
George,
why.
no, we are.
Because the Liberian
No,
people
we
you say are
speak.
suffering.
No, we speak publicly.
You said the Liberian
We
people are
speak.
suffering.
Yeah, we speak
and you do
publicly.
nothing for 6 years.
We speak publicly about the things that are happening.
Okay.
But they take our position to be as a voice of opposition. That man served in Ellen Salif government. Don't mind him. And even though I resigned from Salif government in the first 5 years, people still say, oh, because I serve in Salif government, I'm discredited in their eyes. The only reason I think that the CDC people attack me a lot is there's some moral restraint. I was a lawyer that used to free Kalasco, Mulba, Jefferson Koji, all the seditions.
Do you talk to them
I
nowadays?
used to free them from jail all the time.
Do you talk to them nowadays?
I've even asked every time. I remember Jefferson Koji saw me in the street one day and said, Papi, I come into the office, I will come. I said, I'm waiting for you. He never came. Moba Molu saw me one time, right on Front Street. I said, Moba, he said, Papi, I will come.
So in case if these people
if they come to
make
me
the
for
move
advice,
and come to
I will
Council of
advise them and say, this is how our country should run. I will speak frankly to them. I can't force them to do what they don't want to do. But you see, there's arrogance. The arrogance in our country is the problem. When you are ignorant, that means you don't know about something and you are humble, you can learn. Like I come in the studio now and you say, put this thing on your ear. I say, no, I will speak. That's ignorance on my part. And not only ignorance, arrogance. Because I don't know your field. So when people are ignorant and humble, there's a chance for redemption because they can learn. But when they're ignorant and arrogant, there's impossibility. That's what is happening right now.
Now, going into 2023, we almost out of time, but let's carry a little more. Going into 2023, a lot of people feel that a single opposition or a divided opposition cannot make President Weah a one-term president. With your Better Liberia campaign, is there any room for collaboration? Are you being talked to by members of the opposition community? You've been following the CPP and how the entire collaboration is going and all of that, political parties in code and all that. Where do Councillor Gongloe stands?
You know,
firstly, can a divided opposition beat the Weah?
Yes. I will win the election 65% first round.
Single-handedly?
Yes.
Why are you so optimistic?
Because I'm different from all the candidates. I've been an advocate all my life. Everybody knows what side I stand on. You cannot lead by silence. There's no candidate in this race whose opinion and views are known under the top of regime. And there was a virtual one-party state. We spoke against that. And I went to jail in 1978.
You still consider yourself a progressive?
I am a progressive. I've been consistent and persistent on the views that we stood for in the 70s. We stood against one-party state. We stood against freedom of expression. In fact, I went to jail for freedom of expression in 1978. And that's why I offer free services for freedom of expression. In the 1980s, we stood up against bad governance. Honor Taylor, we stood up. I even almost got killed. You were in Liberia. I was severely tortured. There is no candidate. Honor President Salif that I served when I left, I was critical in the interest of Liberian people. I knew my criticism would make companies and other people not come to me to make money in the law practice. I didn't care. I put Liberia number one. When it comes to Liberia, I do not compromise. Most of the politicians in Liberia today, some of them take the convenient approach, They don't want to be hurt. They don't want to lose opportunity. So they always do what is safe. When it comes to Liberia, I don't care about my life. And people who want to collab, if people want to be with me, they have to agree with the critical things that I say on justice issues, all of the things. Many people are seen to be, the man is all right. But silence do not define people. There are some people who have not worked in the system. If you can have PhD, you could have been head of NASA and control billions of dollars. If you are not serving the Liberian government and deal with the Liberian people, you don't have the credential to lead Liberia. Why? Because we are different. We are being shaped by one-party rule, military rule, war, brutal dictatorship under Taylor. That's who we are. If you come from America, well-developed system, or you come from a corporation, well-developed system that you didn't contribute to, you didn't make any transformation, you just don't have credentials. I can even say Obama is a good leader, but I don't think he can be a good leader in Liberia because he does not know Liberia. That the only country, the expression, I come and go.
You come and go.
I come and go. When you say I come and go in Liberia, it means I'm about to go, right? But if you're not a Liberian, you don't understand that. So how can you lead people like that?
So with all this.
So you have to know Liberian people. Because for me, I don't campaign on George Weah must be a one-term president. I campaign on what happens after George Weah. We must fight to transform Liberia for a better Liberia that protects all Liberians and provides social services for all Liberians, that governs differently. So that is why I come up with prescription on how I will fight corruption, on how I will deal with the lack of education. When I say that children from kindergarten to 12 will go to school freely, it will be free, compulsory quality education. Government will provide textbooks and copybooks and pencils and everything. When I say that pregnant women will go to hospital free of charge, because I know that Liberia is number 7 among the 10 countries that report the highest degree of pregnant women dying. When I say that children under 5 will go to hospital free, Liberia is reported among the countries with the highest infant mortality rate. So I identify the problem and show solution. When I say that under my government will provide rice producing machines to farmers cooperatives on a 15-year interest-free loan through the revitalized agricultural cooperative development bank, so that Liberia has very fertile soil, so that we can create the capacity for farmers to produce rice, to reduce the price of rice and have rice affordable for all Liberians. That's a solution.
Have you actually been approached by members of the opposition community going into 2023?
Community may be through some of my supporters, but
you have not got a call from the Waka, Cummins,
I got a call from Waka one time. I returned the call. He was on the call. He returned the call. I was on the call. And we did, I think, 2 or 3 phone calls. Cummins called me one time. But to tell you the truth, you have to approach. I told them that you cannot approach me individually. I'm not an independent candidate. You got to come through the political party. Now I'm a candidate of the Liberian People's Party.
LPP not receiving the calls directly?
My chairman has not told me that he has received the call directly, but we are open to collaboration on these ideas. If they agree with our prescription of moving the country forward, that is the way to start. Because I don't think that collaboration on personality alone cuts it. And now, somebody tall, somebody short, somebody fat. It's not an issue. Nobody hates George Weah as a person. I still respect him as our celebrated footballer. But I don't think that he has the ability to manage the country in a way that would make Liberia a better place. That is the thing that people should agree on. We don't want, Warren factions came together. They did not produce the best government because they were dividing ministries. Say, oh, the other minister for the warring faction, the deputy for the other warring faction. It is a government that is inherently corrupt because people feel a sense of entitlement based on collaboration, based on coming together. You cannot, so I'm not going to look at collaboration based on personalities. It must be collaboration based on ideas, on what the problems are, and how we move the country forward.
Are you concerned about maybe one or two of them might line up with what Gongloe stands for? Are you concerned about are you concerned about Gongloe heading a ticket or Gongloe second on a ticket if things work the way you think it should be?
All things are possible in politics, right? All things are possible. But the key idea that cannot be compromised is how to solve the problems that face the Liberian people, to identify them and solve them. Let's agree on the problems. Let's agree on the solutions. And let's agree, I want to make government so unattractive. I don't want the situation that exists today where the government of Liberia produce millionaires inside government. I want a government that will produce millionaires, even billionaires outside government, so that we can have our own Bill Gates and order. Today, government is attractive because of the possibility of stealing to become millionaires. If Miguel can be standing one place and spending $50 million, the Miguel that we knew just the other day. When I was graduating from college, people like that, I not even enter school. So we want to make, when I become president of Liberia, after my first term, Liberian people will be begging me to be president because I will move all the eating from there.
You are going to.
I will make the presidency so dry, but it will be an example that nobody will want to go to. Today, presidency is so attractive that people are going to witch doctors, telling them to kill people. People want to be ministers. They want what they call lucrative jobs in government, and they are going to praying people, the mole people. They are going to different people, trying to get what they call lucrative. When they say lucrative job, it means the one that they can steal from. People are becoming political election time investors because they know what they can get when they get it. So they are prepared to borrow money and spend money just to be president, to steal.
All right. We could be on this all day with Councillor Gongloe and his Better Liberia. How is it possible? You've been watching and listening to him, but there was a piece that we took from your event over the weekend. We saw you there in the kitchen. And I just want to play, we got 20 seconds of that video. I will just roll it through for the people that are watching, and you tell us what do they symbolize, and then we can look at your fundraiser strategy before we wrap it up. But those of you watching, this was it. So in the kitchen along So that was on Saturday's night, and I see you there looking at it. It just smiling through. A lot of people were like, "Oh, he's serving us. Oh, the man in the kitchen." In fact, the kitchen team had to kind of give one way of the serving table for Gongloe and Mrs. Gongloe to take over. What was that moment for you as a person?
I'm a teacher and an advocate, and I believe the best way to teach is by doing. So public office is for public service to the people. So I was teaching. I was saying...
Not the regular political rhetoric that we see politicians come so low because this time is coming, that we need the votes.
I'm a Christian, and I strongly believe the best example of leadership is Jesus Christ. When he washed the feet of his disciples, and not asked his disciples to wash his feet. It's hard for me to be the first to eat even at events. I like for people to eat first. Although, and that has been with me ever since. I'll tell you a joke. When I was in the Hawa, we went to Yekepa for a Hawa conference, and I let everybody go to eat. I was the last to eat when I got there. There was no meat. And the folks say, But, I strongly believe that a leader seeks the interests of the people he serves and not his own interests first. That's why I go to events, I sit down way in the back, and people carry me in front, so not embarrassingly. One time I went to a graduation, thank God, I dressed well that I was sitting in the back. at the college graduation, and they said, we understand Councillor Gongloe is in the audience. We are sending an usher for him right now. And they brought me in front, and the rector of the university said, you have to give 1 minute comment. And I got up and spoke about the importance of education and unintentionally outshined
the guest speaker.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing. I know.
I didn't want that.
I know how embarrassing that was.
Clapping for me.
So, Councillor Gongloe, as we wrap it up, what's your own impression? Nathan, you wanted to come in?
Yes, I have two issues here for Councillor Gongloe to address. But first, let me say comments from Facebook. Few of your supporters are commending you, calling you a good champion or advocate. But someone is saying that I want you to address that. Say Councillor Gongloe is dishonest, and that's just one. Also, two, I have this for you. Josh, we are spending a month and a half out of the country. What's your reaction or your view concerning that? And what can you point to in Liberia in terms of human capacity, infrastructure you are doing in Liberia? With all these comments you're making on social media.
You know, let me go to the Josh Weah thing. It's so difficult to understand. Why at the time that Liberian people are catching a hard time, they don't have good roads, they are hungry because we can only produce 20% of the rice we eat in Liberia according to FAO. Our health services are broken down. GFK, you go there, they tell you go across the road to Lucky Pharmacy to buy medicine. That with all of the needs that we have, that the president will travel with 51-person delegation. Not even top when you have your own yacht to travel, will carry 51 person on a trip. And so it just shows.
Are there evidence to that or just of what the public...
I read in a report that he carried 50% on the delegation and has not been reacted to by the government. I'm here. I came before he traveled, and I, no, he traveled before I left. So I saw that in the paper, and nobody had reacted to that. Rather, they have been rationalizing the president right to travel with anybody and all of that. And the length of time that he has taken, Paul Kagame and all the countries that are going ahead, the leaders of those countries do not stay out of the country that long. American presidents don't stay out of the country half of the time that President Weah. That depends on aid from the United States, loans from World Bank and IMF, and all of that. Without aid, can't function. We'll be living, for me, it shows a very high degree of reckless insensitivity to the plight of the Liberian people. So I don't even want to talk much about that. Because there's no way to explain. This travel over 1.5 months is indispensable. Nearly 2 months. I mean, it's indefensible. It's indefensible. You cannot defend it.
Saving the Liberian people of, multiple travel expenses. That's what government officials are pointing at.
Yeah. Why are you traveling for this long? That travel and the amount they are spending, which they have not told us, is just indefensible. At least we know that he gets $2,000 every day. That's just so much. That money could go into improving our health system, our educational system, food insecurity, a road, all the things that we think about. When they say President Weah is a bar road medicine, I can testify to that because of my experience in the rural area these few days. People have food in the interior, Nimba especially, they have planting and all that can't get to the city. Oranges, fruits can't get, they work hard, but they can't get because of the road condition. So I think it's wrong. Now,
somebody talking about dishonesty.
Yeah. Again, I'm running for presidency, but they didn't define, they have to state what the facts are. When you say the mayor is dishonest, I don't know, I can't say, but I other people speak about me. They call me integrated icon, they call me other, but that's his view. And that view would definitely be responded to by other people. Because you can't say the man is a liar without saying on what occasion he lied. It's just that I want to name out. Somebody call and read and say, oh, You said something, and the thing he said, I said, if you bring the recording that I said, I'll give you $1,000. Not only that, I will start running for the presidency. And the president up to now has not produced it. So people will say things about me, but that's their view. And there could be a sedition or someone else who will just say that. But I challenge that person to bring the facts so that at least the public can be, so I can have an opportunity to intelligently respond to it. But I can't respond to something like that. The other thing, how about raising money?
No, I'm saying your contribution to human capacity.
Yeah. Okay, now, me.
Me.
You just put me on a soft spot. You know, the last time I was speaking in North Dakota, I said, look, I provide knowledge to people, you know, on a free basis. I teach at the police academy. Even the current police director was my student in the senior officer course at the police academy. I will not pay for that. I said, I teach at the magistrate school at the Temple of Justice. I was teaching at the Universal Library in the 80s, 1982. I was young, 26 years, I was teaching. Some of my students at the Universal Library are today, you know, serving the country. Kabina Jana became Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. Vice President Jewel Howard, she's so humble. Every time she sees me, Prof, I said, don't bend down like that, you Vice President, you know. Current Justice Yusuf Kaba, George Roosevelt Willie, Brandon Samka, so many people I taught at the Universal Library. Like Taylor used to say, sat under my voice, you know. That is, for me, a major contribution. The end of building bridge or building a school building, because those things can weather away. When you teach someone, that knowledge stays with them forever. And when I spoke in North Dakota, then they say question and answer. One man got a tattoo skin, but he was the commandant. He said, I didn't even know you were in America. He said, I am the living witness. I was the commandant at the police academy. We used to call Councillor Gongloe anytime to come help us teach, you know, the legal framework for policing, criminal procedure, different things in law. And he used to come voluntarily. Anytime you call, he comes. So that's what I've been doing. I will not compare and compete with those who have done structures, building on the ground, all that. For me, that is good. I've done some of that, but that's not what I like to talk about, because, you know, me and my siblings built an educational resource center that is the best anywhere in Liberia, that has an auditorium that takes 500 persons and a library that takes 50 persons. I used like 50 bundles of zinc, so you know it's a huge structure. I did it in memory of my late father, who was a teacher, and through him, me and my siblings all educated, so we just give back to him. But that's not where I want to compete, because building structures do not make you a good leader necessarily. You know, I think teaching does. A lot of teachers have been leaders in history, because, you know, you're dealing with people on a daily basis and you're transforming minds, you are educating people. That is what I'm known for. And if somebody asks me and say, oh, you have not built schools and clinics and all that, I say it has never been used as a yardstick to elect people, because no president or presidential candidate before me have gone building things. Taylor didn't do it, Ellen didn't do it, we did not do those things before. So nobody should give me criteria that they didn't give to other people, you know, preconditions that they didn't give to other people. That would be unfair to me. But more than that, there's a man in Nimba called Dr. Wiato. That man built a big hospital in the Zoga area. That hospital, he brought even nurses and doctors, some of them from Sierra other places, and it was 7 people with generator there, you know, providing. That man ran for senatorial post in Nimba and lost. You know, he went again for a representative post and lost. So I tell the boy in Nimba, the person who asked, I say, don't ask me, because here is the man who built this place, and he tried 2 positions here and
lost them.
So those are not the conditions, in my view.
So in a nutshell, Councillor Gongloe, as we wrap it up, why now? Why do you think it's the time that Councillor Gongloe steps out? And I know you've already said you're optimistic that you're going to win over 60%.
I've always been an advocate.
Why
and
now?
I like the advocacy position. I like to be free to be teaching, to be going to code.
But you're not going to be free teaching or going to code anymore.
Even now, as a standard bearer of a party, I'm not that free because when I'm going places, I just want to walk the street. See people be no the Kennedy standard bearer. You can't go. You see, I came with people here.
Why do you think now is the time?
But now is the time because, as I've said, Liberia is in the ICU. Liberia is in the intensive care unit. We have, metaphorically, you just need to take the tube away, Liberia will be gone. And so the call for leadership is so important now that as someone who are living in Liberia, who are advocated for good governance, and nobody wants to listen, that I feel if I don't step forward, I will be betraying my country and my conscience.
Councillor Tiawan Gongloe, he's the political leader of the Liberia People's Party, and here with us today on this edition of Diaspora Talk. Oh wow, there are a lot of comments coming through, but we cannot go through all of them. But Councillor, thank you so much for coming in with us. I understand there is another speaking engagement today.
Right this evening, and so let me call on all those who believe in me to support me, whatever way, strategies, money. Let me thank the people of Minnesota, the Liberian community living in Minnesota here. Send 2 vehicles for me in Liberia that I can't purchase. That is making my movement easy. A pickup, Joe Moneybearer and his group, they send me a pickup and they send me a Toyota Sequoia.
Wow.
That makes me like a president already. I moved to places. I'm not renting cars anymore. Before that, I was renting cars. So I'm only buying fuel and maintaining cars. I want to thank them, and I call other Liberians to help me because we need motorbikes, we need other things to run. We need to pay rent for offices in the counties and all of that.
And I know
if they think that what I present for Liberia can create a better Liberia, I call upon them to support me. And they can go. I'm not telling them to leave their parties. You know, when Joe Biden was running, thinking that he was a good president, as he is a good president now, the Bush family, well-established Republican partisans, supported Joe Biden. They let Colin Powell say, I'm a Republican, but I don't like my candidate. I'm going to support Joe Biden. In the interest of Liberia, the place Liberia is now in the ICU, we are calling on all Liberians to put Liberia first.
All right, put Liberia first. And what's the speaking engagement this evening? I understand you are also
at the Metro
State University. All right, that's here in Minnesota. So on this note, we're going to be wrapping up this edition of Diaspora Talk. Nathan,
let me thank you again for this marvelous studio and your enlightened questions. You have improved much more than you were in Liberia. You are a great journalist, and you have not gone below. So I want to tell you, thank you for keeping up what you are, because I've known you in Liberia before.
Thank you, Council, and we hope to always have you around when you are around the Minnesota area or even across the world. We just a phone call away to let Liberian people know what's exactly correct. All right.
Because knowledge is power, so I like to give knowledge to people.
All right, guys, if you're there, I'd like to say thanks for following us on this edition of Diaspora Talk. Join us on Wednesday for another edition of this program. With me, my colleague, Nathan Childs. We will be here on Wednesday with fresh and fascinating information that will benefit Liberia and Liberians. Until then, have yourself a wonderful time. Let's leave you with this advertisement from our sponsor here in the state of Minnesota. Bye-bye. Let your celebration begin with Fat Liquor Outlet, your first Liberian-owned liquor store in the city of Broken Park, Minnesota. We have everything that you need to set that special occasion off right. For your next party or great get-together with friends, visit Fat Liquor Outlet. We have great selection of beer, wine, gin, and many more at affordable prices. Our customer service will make you always want to come back. We are open Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Fat Liquor Outlet, your one-stop celebration store. We are located at 6315 Zane Avenue North, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Visit us today and feel the difference. Infotech Fast Track Computer Sales and Repair Center is proud to be associated with Diaspora Talk.
Infotech Fast Track, a Liberian-owned business, is the leading computer sales and repair center in Minnesota, and is specialized in laptop and PC repairs of any brand and any problem. We are situated at 7920 Brooklyn Boulevard, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. For more information, call cell number 763-432-3284. Or for better still, email us at infotech@fasttrack.com. Infotech Fast Track Computer Sales and Repair Center, your computer solution hub. When the issues of Liberia hit the news,
What is it that we, the Liberian people, want?
the Liberian communities in the diaspora are not left out. That's why Diaspora's Talk is back on your screens on KMTV.
In fact, the Unity Party is not cohesive.
Be it social, political, economic, and other issues affecting Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
I did not expect to even make it to Hollywood.
Joan Cyrus McGee and Nathan Charles every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, live on KMTV, Facebook, and YouTube.
I want to be arrested in the midst of my people.
As they discuss the issues, blending the voices from Liberia and the diaspora Liberian communities.
The Liberian Business Association in the Diaspora should be used as a vehicle for economic development in Liberia because no country can develop without the diaspora income.
For sponsorship, call cell numbers 612-806-5896, 816-433-3979, or better still, email us at usakmtv@gmail.com. Diaspora Talk, from this house.